Someone asked me recently why I'm so vigilant when it comes and zealous when it comes to recycling and conservation, and why I come down on Americans so hard on their wasteful lifestyles. Basically, we throw out so much stuff here in America. It's on food. I mean, the way we package things is so backwards. It's absurd. And just from the Torah perspective, the Rambam, first of all, one of the most famous Rambams, in my opinion, in circles I was becoming religious in, was that you can't even waste a grain of mustard, a seed of mustard, because everything comes from God ultimately, and because God goes through a whole bunch of things just to get us these mustard seeds, and how much more so wheat and animals for meat and clothing and tefillin and sefer Torah and things like this. It takes rainfall. It takes people to cultivate fields. It takes a lot. So you can't waste. But this is just on a very base level. And from the Torah's perspective, we said today in Tachnun, on the longer version of Tachnun, my favorite line: God, take away from us this plague of death. It's I don't know if it's well known, but it's in Jewish circles a known fact that when Adam was created, the first person was created, death wasn't part of the condition of his existence. Death was only brought down to the man when he had succumbed to the temptation of his wife, who had succumbed to the temptation and the challenge, the threat posed by the serpent, and they did the one thing they weren't supposed to do. So anyway, now we have a condition of death. But we know Mashiach comes, death will be taken away from us, because anyone who's experienced the loss of a dear one, of a loved one, knows that it's literally impossible to get over, and it makes everything black and blurry, and it throws you into depression. I mean, it's a horrible, horrible thing to go through. And basically, this will stop. So you have to project into the future. Right now, there's about 6.3 billion people on this planet, and we're very wasteful. And imagine, the thing is, the technology in terms of medicine keeps getting better, and the life expectancy is slowly climbing. And I think it's only going to get longer and longer as people become more conscious of their eating habits, of their working out habits, and things like this. I think we will be living longer and longer. I think 120 is going to start being like the baseline. I don't know in 40 years or 50 years, but soon 120 will be a very reasonable goal, in my opinion. As long as people can control themselves and how they eat, and make sure they exercise like 40 minutes a day or whatever you're supposed to exercise. So having said that, and also we're eventually going to weed out war from our midst. It's just it's an eventuality based on the fact that we have a human intellect, and we know that war is not the proper path. It's just a matter of time. So having said that, you have to project population growth, okay? And people like having kids. There's no bigger blessing in the world than having kids. So you look at 6.3 billion people now and how we're living and what's going on in our landfills, and then you project that out and then take away death from the human existence. We still only have one planet Earth. so from the Torah's perspective, we have no choice but to respect the environment we live in as a God-given gift. We have to see ourselves literally as trespassers on this earth, as people who are sojourners. We're here for a short period of time, bodies and souls. Where we come, we go. We cannot make a mess that we cannot clean up. And we have to be very, very, in my opinion, vigilant. And we have to be very, very strong-minded about wastefulness, and about in our own personal life and on a global level too. We cannot let our governments get away with things that we know are not right in terms of pollution, in terms of not conserving. And this is something which I think comes from the Torah itself, and I think it's just reflective of the fact that this world is a gift. You know, and you're a visitor in it. When you walk into someone's house and you're a visitor, the sense is much different than you walk into your own house. Your own house, you do what you want. You throw your shirt on the chair. You take your shoes off. You leave them on the floor. They're not neatly put away. It's your house. You know, if you trip on your own shoes, what's the big deal? You put it there. You tripped on it. You don't want to get hurt, but you know what you were doing. Whereas if you walk into a guest's house, you take off your coat, you hang it up nicely. You sit by the table, you eat like a regular person. You're not shoving food down your mouth. You don't drink from the bottles. You drink from cups. You're more civilized. When people start accepting that we're simply guests on God's planet, and we're visitors, we're sojourners. We're only here for a brief. What is our life? It's until Him 70 years with strength, 80 years. We're here, we come, we go, we're transient, but there's always the next generation. And now that we've technologically advanced to the point where we can pollute the planet like never before, and to the point where we can also care for the planet like never before, we just have to be that much more sensitive to the fact that we're not alone on this planet. There's 6.3 billion people to take care of, And we have to conserve our resources and make sure we're maximizing them and utilizing our resources and the technology we have to its fullest potential. Because the only way to engender a world of world peace is to make sure there's no economic disparity amongst all humanity. And once we do that, and we have the technology to do it. We simply do have it. There's no more excuses. Once we do that, then we'll have world peace. Then we'll have a sense of stability, a sense of calm, a sense of redemption, a sense of personal redemption, a sense of global redemption, a sense that we're truly in the place called the Garden of Eden, and maybe in the immediate future. I look forward to any messaged comments on this topic. Thank you so much, and God bless.